Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna the Medium, and also an intuitive coach. Just very quickly, these are obviously general readings and they will not apply to all of you. So take bits and pieces that apply and throw away the rest. Listen to your other signs, your moon sign and your rising sign, as well as your sun sign, as these more often than not will paint a more complete picture of what is happening in your life. What I have noticed over the last year and a half or so from you is that these readings, generally speaking, will not make much sense to you at the very beginning, but they almost always make complete sense to you at the end of the month or the beginning of next. And I have many of you email me personally saying that it made no sense to you at the beginning, and then halfway through or the third week into the month you listened again and you were shocked how everything was coming out the way it was said. So always listen at the end of the month, because I feel that will connect with you much more so. Also, these are general. I cannot connect with every single one of you. There's thousands of you watching. So if you send me a comment asking how this fits in your life, it's impossible for me to answer that unless, of course, we connect on a one-on-one level. And if that's what you would like, that information is down below, and I would be honored to have a session with you. And I think that's all I have. I wish you a wonderful month of November. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching, for liking and sharing. I look forward to seeing you in December. And for those of you who are celebrating holidays, like in the United States, the Thanksgiving Day, I wish you a wonderful holiday. And without further ado, let's move on to the actual readings. See you soon. Hello, sign of Gemini. This is going to be a reading for November 2017. I did something different this month. For some reason, I was guided to do a cross reading that's kind of made my own, and I have some other cards for clarification. So I feel many of you are in a process of change, but it's also an energy of stagnation. So let me just go one by one with each card representing a certain component. One of the things that I'm being shown is that many of you are at an end of a journey, and the journey is symbolized by the word sacrifice, and for some of you the word struggle comes in. So I sense that many of you have been struggling over the last, I want to say 2 or 3 months, particularly for those of you who are involved in work or projects or needing to make something work with regards to finances. So although there can be a component of relationship here, there's a lot of coins or a lot of pentacles here in the reading, which suggests to me that many of you will identify this around the work area or finances. So let's go one by one. The card that represents your past is Nine of Pentacles. So this is where you're coming from. This is what you are leaving behind. Not a great card to leave behind, because it's something that we want to stick with. But it tells me that you come from a place of opulence, and whatever is happening right now, it feels like you are not there. So that is what you are leaving behind. Where you are right now is Six of Pentacles in reverse. So basically what this signifies to me, that many of you, when it comes to finances, also relationship, but for many of you, when it comes to finances, you are in a place of lack. There is a financial component that seems to be missing, or seems to be represented by the word of lack, whether it is not having a job, not having job satisfaction, not being able to start a project, not being able to make enough money. There's very much an energy of stuckness, feeling of being stifled. There is a need for regeneration wherever you are, and there is an absolute need for change. The good news is that change is coming, but it seems to be a little bit later, towards the end of the year or even beginning of the new year for many of you. So when I look at the Six of Pentacles in reverse, I hear the word stagnation. Many of you will feel stagnant, or you are feeling stagnant at the time of when you listen to this video. However, what they're saying here is be mindful that this energy isn't going to stick around forever. It is a moment of not a great feeling for some of you, but that too will pass, and they're showing me this very, very clearly. Now, when I look at the card of influence, what is influencing you? Two cards popped up. The first card was Tower in reverse, and the second card popped up. That was the fifth chakra, which is the throat. So the way I connect with this is what is influencing you, the way you feel right now, or lack, is the tower is when things happen outside of us. The world is shaken and things don't go the way we have planned them to go. For whatever reason, our world, is turned upside down, whether it is because we've lost a job, we've lost a relationship, we have moved on, somebody else has moved on, the job has moved on, whatever it is, something transpired in your, I want to say, recent past that is influencing you the way you feel right now. And the way you feel for many of you is stagnation and lack. At the same time, I'm also being shown that many of you are resisting the changes that are upon you. And this can translate in many different ways, particularly when it comes to relationships. If you have had a great relationship and something has happened where you are no longer, or the relationship is no longer the way it was, it is because a change needed to happen for some fundamental reason, which may not be in your awareness, or you may not understand now, but will become known to you at some point later enough. Point is, this card, which is disruption or Tower in reverse, is contributing or influencing the way you feel right now, which is lack again and stagnation. Because the card of throat chakra is being shown to me, and it's also shown to me in reverse, and I read chakra cards slightly different. What this is telling me is that you feel like you are not being heard, whether it is because you are not being heard in a relationship, or whether it is because you feel like you're not able to express yourself and your individuality the way you would like yet. And that's what's causing you to feel stuck or feel in a place of lack and stagnation. It is a temporary condition. I'm being taken to the month of February. That doesn't mean that you have to wait until February for things to happen. But February is being highlighted for me very clearly, and it's shown to me as a very bright month. So it might be that over the next 2-3 months, you might feel not great, but it doesn't mean things are not going to look up. Again, many of you are in a process of ending certain relationships, ending certain way of you expressing yourself. Some of you are literally ending a certain way of being, and your individuality is in a process of being refurbished or reformed. And that's an interesting choice of words. The point here is that if you have had something happen in your life where everything was fine and something happened and you lost your job, you lost your relationship, you left, someone left you, anything that we typically don't like to experience, it is because there is something better waiting out there for you. And though it feels like your glasses are dirty and you can't see clearly, the lack of clarity will be much more apparent to you in the month of December. So not something is going to transpire in February, but already in December we are looking at more clarity. The clarity is going to come within you, which then you will translate into outside of you. And what that means is you will have some kind of epiphanies in the month of December. So even though the reading is to cover the month of November, the energies are fluid, and they will move on past the 4.5 week period that consists of the month of November. They're saying to me, many of you are worrying about your finances, and finances are a valid reason to be worried about. And some of you, I feel you have to be penny pinching because there is not enough, or you feel there is not enough, and your resources are currently but temporarily limited. What is being asked of you is to have faith, easier said than done, that better things are ahead of you. And although, like I said, you cannot see clearly right now, and there is an obstacle in front of you that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, things are going to look up in a very near future, very shortly. I'm also being asked to talk about relationships. Some of you have experienced relationships coming apart. Relationships are just not just romantic, but they could be relationship with work, obviously romantic, relationship with friends, and relationship with family. Some of you have left a relationship, and that relationship allowed you to have financial stability. Because you are no longer, because you are separating, the financial stability is being uprooted. And that makes perfect sense to me. That makes perfect sense, right? So there's a valid reason for you to be worried, and there's a valid reason why you would feel lack and stagnant, because you're thinking, okay, now what? And I see this big number 9 in front of me, which signifies endings. So for many of you, you may have had some setbacks in September, or something. I'm focusing on September, so something might have happened in the month of September. For some of you, it's the month of July, or between July and September, something may have transpired where things went kind of sideways, and you started to see that your life was going to look very different in the very near future. Now, they're talking about stagnation here, stagnant energy. Aside from the fact that this is what you may be experiencing right now, they're also saying to me that many of you had to experience the tower moment because you were becoming stagnant within yourself. Now, what does this mean? It means that when we get comfortable and life is hunky-dory and we do our thing and, life is great, it does not lend itself to learning or expansion. And sometimes we get bored, yes, but we get stagnant. And in order for us to grow and end the stagnation period, the tower element comes in and says, okay, we're going to shake the can a little bit because you're getting too comfortable in your own life and you need to move on to other things. So that's often what happens. When it comes to relationships, many of you, I feel, have seen this coming. It's not something that you have, that came to you out of the blue. For some of you could be, but for many of you, I feel this is something that was coming. They're showing me that there were red flags. And again, whether this was a romantic relationship, partnership, work relationship, any kind of relationship, could be family. There were some of you had red flags that this was going to end eventually, and for some of you it has. Point is that where you're going is much brighter and lighter, and even though some of you may be leaving some people behind, it is because those individuals have served their purpose in your life, and you are meant to go on your own way in order to explore your individuality, whatever your soul wants to accomplish at this time. So there's definitely a lot of change around you. The month of November, I feel like I'm on a lake, but I'm not really moving anywhere. So emotionally speaking, you may feel like you are kind of just there. Not a lot of movement is happening, but you're not drowning. There's no tsunami coming. There's no huge wave coming that's going to turn your boat upside down. You're just kind of there, and there's really no place for you to go other than to stay where you're at. And that's called stagnation for some of you. So that's kind of the energy that I'm hearing. But they're also saying to me that many of you need this break or need this moment of rest because there's something that's coming. I want to say, again, beginning of new year, where you are going to pick up your rowers and you're going to start swimming swiftly. So you will need a lot of energy. So even though it may feel stagnant, take this opportunity to take care of yourself, particularly for those of you who always take care of other people, and learn to pay attention to your own needs, particularly when it comes to your spiritual needs, emotional needs, and mental needs. Okay, now let's move on to the future card. We actually have a great card. A couple of things. One of Ace of Wands, a brand new beginning, and this very often speaks of career. It also speaks of relationships. So this card signifies Ace of Wands. It says passion ignited. So in a very near future, you will feel something percolating within you that will spark a brand new interest. This brand new interest could be a project, could be work, could be a brand new love interest. But because the next card that fell to next to it, and I was prompted to see them all together, is Five of Pentacles. It tells me that this brand new beginning is going to offer you some changes with regards to your financial security. So this card says five. Well, five is changes. It says financial and material changes, but I don't see this as a negative sign. And I think in a traditional tarot deck, I think this is, changes that are not great. I feel that because there's going to be a brand new beginning, you will have financial changes coming to you. Now, there seems to be a bit of a worry, and the worry is more about if it's a job, you might be thinking, okay, I like this, but is this going to work out for me? So there seems to be an element of trying to figure out if the financial component is going to work for you. When it comes to a relationship, this may signify that there is an element of you needing to move. So you may find or partner with somebody, and eventually there might be a move involved, because example being given is this someone is from out of town, or it's a long distance relationship which is out of town. It requires an energy of move. Point is, there's a brand new beginning and there is finances connected to it. But you're trying to figure out, is this a good opportunity for me? You may also be presented with a brand new project or a career opportunity, and you're going to have to crunch the numbers and ask yourself or figure out, is this something that's going to be viable for me long term? This is not a card of move, but I see that there is movement with you. It is both an energetic movement, but it's also movement of location or residence. So if you are in a job that's dead end, you might get a proposition to go into a new job, which will require you obviously to move to a different department or different building, different facility, different company altogether. Now, the card that represents hopes and fears, couldn't get any better. You have the wish card. So obviously that's what you're going to wish for. And I feel ultimately this is what is influencing your actions in the month of November and December. So the wish coming up in fears and hopes, obviously you want to wish for the best. So you have the ultimate wish card in the wish and fears and hopes. What does this mean? It means that at the end of the day, your wishes will ultimately fulfill. There will be a fulfillment that will be found, but you first have to go through this a bit of an ending in order to have a brand new beginning. I pulled a different card from a different deck and I said, okay, tell me, what do they need to focus on? And you have the card called Time to Go. So it actually sums everything up beautifully, because what this card is saying basically, where you are or where you have been, it is time to go. You have learned all that you have that you needed from this particular situation. It's time to you to move on into discover something different, something new. You can't see it in this card because it's very hard, but for some of you, you may. This is a this is a road, and she's following this road, and see this little thing, there's a brand new door here at a distance. And what this is saying here is, focus what's in front of you versus what is in the past. So if we focus on, oh my goodness, I had this and I'll no longer have this, and I wish I was still there, I wish I had this job, or I wish this relationship remained, or I wish, there is really no point, because again, what's being said here, the people and the circumstances have served their purpose. It is now time to move on and do something better, and for some of you, something different. So don't be afraid of the changes. Don't resist the changes, as the card of Tower signifies in reverse. And ultimately, there are brand new beginnings for you. They're a little bit in a distant future, and maybe that's why February is being shown to me, or was shown to me. But again, remember, in the month of December, you're going to have some clarity, and the clarity may be around, which door do I want to open, which direction do I want to take, where do I want to go, how do I want to express myself, how do I want to live, where do I want to live. All of these things signify aspects of brand new beginnings that will eventually come into fruition. Because she's also moving forward on a path, it tells me that you are moving towards a different path, a brighter future, a bigger future. Some of you may not know what that is, but ultimately it will become very clear to you with due time. So the big 9 is being shown to me. Many of you are experiencing endings of a cycle of struggle and endings of a cycle of stagnation. And although you may feel some of that energy still in the month of November, it feels like many of you will experience brand new beginnings and brand new opportunities. So the other thing I'm being shown is this ginormous anchor, which signifies to me the word stuckness, is being lifted, almost as if to signify the boat that was anchored is now ready to move on. Boat signifies journey, water is emotion. So there's definitely an emotional freedom or emotional movement. There's movement towards emotional freedom. Above all, the message is, be yourself, take care of yourself. There is number 6 that's being shown to me, which is very much about nurture. And don't forget who you are. So be yourself and don't forget who you are, to me, are the same things. But if you are wanting to express yourself in some different way, particularly if you're looking for a new relationship or a new job, always remember to remain true to yourself and be authentic to who you are. Never pretend to be somebody you're not in order to fit yourself into a square when you're a circle, because you're not supposed to fit into a square if you're a circle, and that's a metaphor. And the number 15 was just shown to me, so I don't know how that applies to you. See how 15 makes sense to you, and I hope this made sense. If you wish to comment down below how it affects you, I would love to read it. I read every single one of them. Thank you so much. I wish you a wonderful month of November. For those of you who are in the United States, I believe you do have Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you. And I wanted to say happy Halloween, but I think you're going to hear this before Halloween. I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to hearing or seeing you in the month of December. Take care.